It's a beautiful night for baseball at Target Field. A bit steamy, but beautiful nonetheless. Twins return home from another successful road trip to launch a 10-game homestand starting tonight against Toronto. Joe Mauer will not take part in this weekend series against the Blue Jays, but the Twins' top hitter is making progress, taking live batting practice for the second consecutive day, working his way back after suffering a concussion on August 19. Joe Mauer, one of the greatest hitters of his generation, certainly has been missed, but in his absence, Ron Coomer, a couple young players have emerged, and they've been interesting for Twins fans to watch this past week. We're talking about Yasmil Pinto and Alex Presley. Your first impressions of these guys?
Well, so far so good. You can't knock it. I mean, when you look at guys taking advantage of their situation, 7 for 10, Tommy's pretty good last time I checked. But the thing that's been impressive is the way he's gone about it. He's been able to pull some balls that are in. He's been able to take the ball inside and shoot it the other way. When they throw the ball down and in with the slider, he's able to hook it. And it looks like he's going to have some power, and he knows what he's doing at home plate. And now, speaking of knowing what you're doing at home plate, that's what a leadoff hitter needs to do. Presley seems like the stereotypical leadoff hitter, and that's what the Twins and most teams in Major League Baseball are looking for. Someone that understands the leadoff role. He's off to a very good start with the Twins, but he understands that job, and that's very important.
Presley and Pinto, a pair of players to keep a close eye on the month of September. Up next, Dick and Bert reunited in the Burt. They'll offer their take on the notorious knuckleballer, R.A. Dickey.
Is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards.
Twins open up a nice long homestand tonight against the Toronto Blue Jays. Mike Pelfrey has been a better second-half pitcher, and his turnaround may have started on a July 6th start against the Toronto Blue Jays. Just 3 hits, no runs allowed over 6 innings. His mound opponent that day, R.A. Dickey, and as well as Dickey has pitched as of late, the Twins gave him one of his worst starts of the 2013 season. And we welcome you to Target Field. Dick Bramer. Bert Blyleven, welcome back.
I do that to a lot of people. Thank you. Good to be back.
Twins and Jays in the first of three here, and we do have a revisiting of a pitching matchup in early July up in Toronto.
Yeah, you know, R.A. Dickey, now he struggled a little bit, but this guy is tough to hit. When he has that knuckleball working, it's like trying to catch a butterfly with a net. It's tough, and you can see the movement. If it starts about letter high, it'll break down toward your shin area, and they say if it's low like this, you got to let it go, and you can see that ball, the way it breaks. And for the Minnesota Twins, you got a guy that's been pitching outstanding. That's Mike Pelfrey. Over his last 4 starts, 1-0, very good earned run average. He's coming off an outstanding start against the Texas Rangers, where he shut down a very good offensive team. Hopefully, Mike Pelfrey can keep it going. I think what he's over with is maybe that little bit of irritation to Tommy John. He's letting it fly now, very aggressive.
Twins have done very well this year against the American League West, but it's the American League East that's given them a lot of trouble, and no one has given them more trouble than the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, since 2007 during the All-Star, just right at the All-Star break, look at the 75 home runs the Blue Jays have hit in the 32 wins. Twins have hit 32. The job here in this 3-game series, keep the ball in the ballpark if the pitching staff can.
And Mike Pelfrey's done a pretty good job of that. He and the Twins will try to break a spell against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Josmil Pinto and the Twins take the field for the start of a 10-game homestand. 3 with Toronto, a makeup game with the Angels, and then 3 more games with Oakland, 3 games with Tampa Bay. John Gibbons in his second tenure with the Toronto Blue Jays, and it's been a disappointing year. The Jays have had a lot of injuries, and amid all the high hopes, another right now last place placement for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Menards batting order for the opening game: Jose Reyes leading off, Rajai Davis batting second, Edwin Encarnacion third, Adam Lind, Brent Lawrie, Moises Sierra, Ryan Goins, Anthony Goes, and Josh Tolley.
And Mike Pelfrey on the mound, 5 wins, 10 losses, an ERA just under 5, making his 26th start. 10 of his 25 starts have been quality starts, and you got to look what he's done over his last 4 starts. 1-0 with a 2.88 earned run average. 3 of the 4 starts quality starts. 6 innings, 3 earned runs or less, making his 2nd career start against the Blue Jays.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins, and it sure looks a lot different than the last time the Twins played at Target Field. Oswaldo Arcia in left. Alex Presley in the state of Minnesota for the very first time playing in center field. Clay Thomas in right. Blue Florimon, Dozier, Colabello, the infielders, and also his first time in the state of Minnesota, Osmeal Pinto. Mark Wegner, the crew chief, joined in this umpiring crew by Corey Blazer, DJ Rayburn, and Laz Diaz.
And those guys have been in Minnesota before.
Yes, they have. Jose Reyes leading things off for Toronto. The Blue Jays have won their last 3 series. And the first pitch slapped on 2 hops. Bobbled, kicked by Florimon. And then Florimon commits an error on the very first pitch of the ball game.
Well, you need good defense behind you right from the get-go, and Florimon had that ball and just dropped it, so hopefully Pelfrey can get another ground ball. Saw that ball come up on him right there. He will be charged with an error, his 14th error of the year, and for the Twins, their 88th error. That ball come up right at the last second.
Actually, just their 63rd error of the year. So a runner at first, nobody out. Rajai Davis, more speed for the Blue Jays at the top of their order. Pelfrey has to keep an eye on Reyes here. And there's a chance we'll get a look at Pinto's arm behind the plate. Strike 1 to Davis.
Yeah, Reyes missed a couple months due to an injury, but he's got a tremendous speed at first base. Base runners are 9 of 11 successfully against Pelfrey.
And of course, Reyes, a former teammate of Pelfrey's, both with the New York Mets. Reyes signing with the Marlins and then dealt to Toronto. Reyes has stolen quite a few bases for Mike Pelfrey over the years. He may try to steal one against him.
He's quick. Over 400 major league stolen bases for Reyes. And this guy at the plate, too, can fly down that first base line.
Off the plate, 1-1. Good to have you back. We trust that you enjoyed your 7-week vacation. How long? Well, it wasn't 7 weeks?
No, it wasn't that long, but I ran out of golf balls, so I had to come back.
Okay.
Good to be back.
1-1 to Rajai Davis. Flip foul. 1-2. Mentioned Pelfrey has been a much better pitcher in the second half, but you'd be hard pressed to prove it in the one-loss department. He's won 1 game since May 5th, and it came against the Blue Jays on July 6th. Two games, rather. He beat the Tigers 3 starts ago. Wow. And Reyes will go to second.
It should be a wild pitch, but maybe crossed up right there as Pinto goes out to talk to Pelfrey. Take a look at the pitch. Pinto, of course, wants it down, and the ball just got right by him. I don't know if they will charge him with a pass ball or a wild pitch. And they give Pelfrey a wild pitch.
So Reyes and his speed at second base. And the count 2-2 to Davis.
And that being the first wild pitch of the year for Pelfrey.
Tapper is short. Reyes will try to advance. Florimon looks and almost took too much time. He got Davis, and on the play, Reyes advances to third.
Actually, pretty good base running right there by Reyes, only because if Florimon comes in and tries to make a throw at first, he might hit Reyes in the back the way that Florimon charged that ball. So Reyes getting over to third base. Good hustle right there. You want that ball hit behind you, but Reyes' first couple steps, you can see, but where Florimon caught that ball, if he throws over to Trevor Plouffe, not a lot of angle right there to throw to third.
Pelfrey clips the outside corner to Encarnacion, who has been the most consistent and the most productive Toronto hitter this year. Jose Bautista, who I'm sure regrettably for him is done for the year, won't be able to swing here at Target Field. Another injury There's a drive to left. And caught made by Arcia. Trotting home is Reyes, and an unearned run here in the first inning for Toronto. Encarnacion driving in the first run of the game. Tony Batista just has absolutely feasted here at Target Field.
Yeah, you can see the 10 home runs for Batista in his career here at Target Field. He will be out the rest of the year. Left hip bone bruise for Batista. But you mentioned earlier, Dick, there are a lot of injuries for this Toronto Blue Jay. Out of spring training, on paper, they looked like they were going to be contending in the American League Eastern Division, but it has not happened.
And strike one to Adam Lind. Batista has emerged as one of the biggest sluggers in the American League. The last couple of years now with the Blue Jays has had his numbers crippled by injuries. 1-1.
Yeah, 2010 and 11, he led the American League in home runs both years.
Lind with another strike, 1-2.
Yeah, Lind, one of the veterans for the Blue Jays in his 8th season. Came up with the Blue Jays in 2006.
Off the handle of the bat, foul. Pinto getting a crash course on this pitching staff here in the month of September. Really is a rise to the big leagues out of necessity with Mauer's uncertain situation, but he started the year at Double-A, spent most of the season there, and did well at Triple-A, did well enough to be called up here in September. Fouled back again. The Double-A team for the Twins in New Britain, the only team in the top 4 minor league slots that didn't get into the playoffs. And the Class A teams have both been eliminated already, Fort Myers and Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, tonight is game 3 in Pawtucket for the Rochester Red Wings. And right now the Pawtucket team is up 2-0, top of the 5th inning. In the best-of-5 series, right now tied at 1 apiece.
Well, a good inning for Pelfrey. He gives up a run, but without the benefit of a hit. And it's 1-0 Toronto. Pitch of the ball game led to a Toronto run. Ron Gardenhire talking it over with Mike Pelfrey and Josmil Pinto, his battery for tonight's game. And Alex Presley about to make his first Target Field plate appearance. The Menard batting order for the Twins in the series and homestand opener. Presley leading off, Cleve Thomas batting second, then Brian Dozier, Josh Willingham, Trevor Plouffe, Oswaldo Arcia, Chris Colabello, Josmil Pinto, and Pedro Florimo.
And a knuckleballer, R.A. Dickey on the mound, making his 30th start of the year, a second against the Twins. Remember, Pelfrey beat him 6-0 in Toronto earlier this year. He has not won as a starter against the Twins. In 4 career starts, he's 0-2 with an ERA of 8. So the Twins have hit R.A. Dickey pretty well over his career. A former Twin, pitched for the Twins in 2009.
Alex Presley takes a knuckler for strike 1. Presley has jumped into the Twins lineup since the Morneau trade and given the Twins their most accomplished leadoff hitter this year. And he drops one to left. Davis coming in, fighting the lights, makes the catch. 1 away. Northland Ford defense for the Toronto Blue Jays. Rajai Davis in left. Anthony goes in center field. Moises Sierra in right. Lowry, Reyes, Goins, Lind, and Tolley behind the plate. Pedro Florimon challenged on the ground ball, and he bobbled the one in the top of this inning. And here a ball hit in the air to left, and Davis had to fight the lights.
Well, you saw the reset lights that we just showed you right there. That ball gets in there, tough to pick up, and Davis fought it, but able to get it in his glove.
Thomas sends a higher fly ball.
That's a little easier to see.
And Davis makes the catch, 2 down.
It's that line drive, and we see it in almost every ballpark. That one right there, you can see fighting it. You go, whoa, that caught right in the lights, but able to get it for the first out. Second out a little bit easier. For R.A. Dickey, last year, what a year he had for the Mets. National League Cy Young Award winner. He went 20-6, an ERA of 2.73, and then traded over to the Toronto Blue Jays. You a little surprised at that?
Yeah, because the Mets, have a very young and developing pitching staff, and Dickey, even though he's an elder statesman, knuckleballers can pitch deep into their 40s, and it just looked like it was a really good fit for both him and the Mets. 1-1 to Dozier. Took a look at a fastball, then the knuckler, and a drive lifted to left center, and that's going to be caught by Davis. Oh, what a catch! What an inning for Rajai Davis. He makes all 3 catches, and a really nice catch to wrap up the inning. One really nice catch.
Well, he fought the lights, and then that final at bat against Dozier, who makes a nice diving catch. So all 3 outs recorded by Davis.
Strike 1 to Brent Lowry. It'll be Lowry, Sierra, and Goins. 1-1. You could make the case that Pelfrey's turnaround might have come in the start against Toronto in early July. Foul back. The first 3 months really not much to brag about. In fact, he only made 3 starts in June. He had a back issue and spent some time on the disabled list. But Ron Gardenhire would tell you that breakaway when he was on the disabled list did Pelfrey a world of good. His first start off the DL came against the Jays. Now Floramone's going to have to hurry here. Quickly firing to Colabello. Good play, one away. But because Pelfrey had worked so hard to get back for the start of spring training, his whole body needed a bit of a break, and the back issue forced him to get that break.
Yeah, that might have been it. And also somewhere in there, maybe that start against the Toronto Blue Jays back on July 6th, he maybe threw a pitch and didn't think about his elbow anymore.
Yep.
You know, I had the elbow surgery, and it's in the back of your mind, and all of a sudden one day he'll go out there, everything will be smooth, and then you go from there. But what I have seen from Pelfrey when I was not here, and I watched it on the booth tube, was he's really utilizing that pitching rubber a lot better. He's really driving off of that rubber, and that's creating, I believe, the extra velocity that he has shown. Right there, he's really driving toward home plate.
And that, you see, the batter fights it off, fouls it to the opposite field late with his swing. Twins thought they would get 92 miles per hour from Pelfrey, but what they are getting instead now in the second half is 94, 95 miles per hour.
He's not babying it anymore. He's letting it fly. He gets to that balance point by stepping to the side, takes a little hesitation, and then you can see the fastball at 94. So just more aggressiveness, working a little bit quicker pace, and doing the right thing so far in this ball game. You can see push off that rubber where that knee gets close to the dirt, and then the follow through of that arm whipping through.
And a breaking pitch gets a strikeout for out number 2.
And what he's doing, 6 batters he's faced, he's gotten strike 1 on all 6 of them. So getting ahead in the count, picks up his second strikeout. Little slider right here, great location. And Sierra swinging through it.
2 outs in the second. He's thrown a whopping 22 pitches already. Now in the first 3 months of the year, after 22 pitches, we were still typically in the first inning. He's thrown more strikes. He's pitched much more aggressively. The bottom line is the first 3 months, as forgettable as they might have been for Pelfrey, in July 5 starts and an ERA of 3.25. In August 6 starts and an ERA of 3.60.
And no nitpicking, Dick. I mean, that's what he's doing. 7 for 7 first pitch strikes. He's going right at him. And that's what Rick Anderson wanted him to do, back in April and May. But again, in the back of your mind is that elbow going to react to, maybe I'm going to hurt it again.
2 strikes, 2 goings.
One fastball in, get it in there. Ahead in the count.
Left it up a little bit. 1-2. A couple of former Mets facing each other on the mound tonight. Pelfrey against Dickey. 1-2. And foul back.
Goins, a youngster, getting an opportunity to get some playing time at second base. Started the season down at the minor league level, called up on August 22nd. Pretty good numbers in the minor leagues. 5 seasons for the Blue Jays. A .275 hitter.
2 strikeouts, a 1-2-3 second. 6 in a row set down by Mike Pelfrey. us know who you think will be the Arby's value player of the game. Text the word value followed by a space and the player's name to short code 234234. Josh Willingham, Trevor Plouffe, Oswaldo Arcia to face R.A. Dickey, trying to even his mark on the year at 12-12. Down and in, ball one.
Yeah, Dickey needed only 7 pitches to get out of that first inning, 5 of them strikes. Not a lot of at-bats for these Twins against R.A. Dickey. Willingham only 4 at-bats against Dickey, a couple hits.
2-0.
R.A. Dickey, 38 years old, came up with the Rangers back in 2001.
Check swing, taken for a strike.
And Twins fans remember R.A. Dickey back in 2009. He made 1 start and then in the bullpen mainly. That's where he finished as a Minnesota Twin. Late August, they designated him for assignment.
2-1 to Josh Willingham.
Then signed with the Mets.
Foul back. Twins were after him hard for a couple of years. He was signed by the Twins after the 2007 season. The Mariners drafted him in the Rule 5 draft and then returned him to the Twins and then worked out a trade with the Twins to leave him with the Mariners organization. They released him. And there's a called third strike. A floater belt high for Willingham for the first out of the second.
Well, think about R.A. Dickey. He'll throw the slow knuckleball and then he'll add speed to it a little bit. Watch this one right here. That's a knuckleball, but it doesn't, you expect it to fall down a little bit or break, but that hung right there about belt high, and Dickey picks up his first strikeout.
Totally trying to frame the pitch when in fact he's just hoping to catch the stupid thing. One down. Here's Trevor Plouffe, and he takes one in the same spot for a strike. Anyway, the Twins then re-signed Dickey after the 2008 season. He made just 1 start for the Twins, and so you're going, well, he couldn't crack that rotation. Who was in the rotation? Well, this was a year when the Twins had Scott Baker, Nick Blackburn, Francisco Liriano, Carl Bavano, and Kevin Slowey do the bulk of the starting for them that year.
Yeah, Dick, you mentioned R.A. Dickey. He made that 1 start and then out in that bullpen, but look at the glove right there that Coley has to use. Almost like a bigger version of a first baseman's glove. You know, they always say that hitters sometimes, after you face a knuckleballer, that it's hard to, get back into that groove. But imagine being a catcher trying to catch that thing. Cross-eyed.
Into the corner. Plouffe with a hit. And an extra base hit. It's a 1-out double, the first hit of the game. And Trevor Plouffe slicing one down the right field line. Kevin Gordon. Interesting challenge for the Twins, who hit very well on the road trip, and now they got to face this guy to start the homestand.
Yeah, the template was just right there in front of those Twins hitters as you saw Trevor Plouffe shorten up that swing and take it the other way. That's what hitting coach Tom Bransky talked to us about this afternoon. Find a way to get a strategy in that batter's box. Shorten up your swing and try to work the count. The one thing that Tom Bransky talked about is if you can get ahead in the count, you can find a fastball once in a while. You can find a pitch that you're willing to hit. If you get behind, though, and you try to have to hit knuckleball for knuckleball, that thing's dancing around, guys. Very difficult. Plouffe did give some of these young hitters an opportunity to see how it's done right there with that great swing.
Yeah, very nice swing right there. Stayed back very nicely. And Ron Coomer talked about that a little bit on the pregame. And, he was a 275 hitter against Tim Wakefield. And, that's what he said. You have to find a way to relax up there. And right at the last second, let your hands kind of hopefully make good contact.
1-0 to Arcia on a swing and a miss. Ron Coomer, and I would imagine if you're standing in the box, if you're going to have any success, you have to not be afraid to look foolish up there trying to hit the thing.
No, you got to swing hard in case you hit it. I think the big key is making that ball get up in the zone. You just saw Arcia swing at that pitch high, and there's a line drive base hit the right on the ball thigh high.
Sierra's got a tremendous arm, and he shows it off there. No chance for Plouffe to score. Joe Vavra would have tackled Plouffe if he had tried to run through the stop sign.
Well, that looked like a knuckleball. Ron Coomer that kind of stayed up right there. A good at bat for Arcia, driving that ball into right field very quickly. And You see you could see the seams of that knuckleball, but it stayed right there on that same plane.
Yeah, the big key is making sure that the ball starts out at least at the top of the zone. If it starts out, thigh high to the bottom, the ball's going to dart down and be out of the zone, and you're going to see the pitch by Dickey where you just, the ball just floats in there. But it's very important to get the ball up and then get the head of the bat out to the hitting zone. You get caught up sometimes in trying to watch the ball too long, and it ends up beating you on the inside.
Tying run at third. Colabello takes low, ball one. You remember Steve Sparks, Ron Coomer, you may have hit against Steve Sparks. He does some radio work for the Astros, and I had a chance to talk with him the other day in Houston about what he would do if he were asked to hit the knuckleball. He says every knuckleballer hates it when a hitter crowds the plate. And that would be a big challenge, I would think, to Colabello, who stands so far away from the plate to begin with.
Well, I think if you stand up on the plate, that's one thing. And then what I did against Wakefield, because he did not do what R.A. Dickey does, is throw the harder one, I would move up towards the pitcher. And what that would do is it'd give me more of an angle, because I really tried to pull the ball against Wakefield and really hook it. Our first base coach during that time was Scotty Elger. He was my target.
2-0 to Colabello. Fouled away, 2-1.
See, I would be the opposite. I would think that Colabello would have a good success. He's never faced R.A. Dickey, but the way he seems to have power the other way, most of his hits and home runs have gone the other way. Seems to weight back very nicely.
Here hoping to just loft one to the outfield to at least get the game tied up. 2-1 to Colabello. Big swing and a foul, 2-2.
Good swing right there. He weighted back nicely. Now all of his 6 home runs have come on the road. He has yet to hit a home run here at Target Field. And with this swing right here, look at that thing. I mean, hardly any movement whatsoever.
With that shot, guys, it looks like it's an easy pitch to hit.
Yeah.
When you shot from behind home plate.
When you say no movement, you mean no rotation of the baseball. It just kind of wobbles its way in there. 2-2. Snap bat and a base hit to right field to tie the game. Colabello shattered his bat on a pitch that might not have been 70 miles per hour. But he gets an RBI single, and it's one apiece.
And that's kind of what I was talking about Colabello. I thought he would do okay because he does weight back nicely. A lot of his power is the other way, and you can see him almost kind of hesitate, let that ball get there, and then drive it the other way. And it's a ball that Lind just got right there, just out of his reach into right field. So Colabello picks up his 14th RBI. The game is tied, and Arcia scoots over to third.
Josmil Pinto to hit, with Pinto bringing a 700 batting average into his Target Field debut. Fastball hits the inside corner. You get one of those every once in a while, and it won't be in reality a whole lot faster than his knuckleball.
Yeah, that came in at 84 miles an hour.
Pinto doing the catching. Go ahead runner at third, one away. Another pitch up and in, and it's 1-1.
Guys, that pitch was at 78 miles an hour from down here on field level. Looked like 108 miles an hour after seeing some of them knuckleballs.
So you could, on that replay, and maybe you needed high def to see it, but there was a lot of rotation on that knuckleball. Fouled back.
Hey, Ron, what do you tell a hitter? Pinto right here, he's never faced a knuckleball. Maybe in the minor leagues, I don't know, but he's just trying to make good contact here. Do you wait longer? Do you let it get right on top of you before you swing, or like you said, get the barrel of the bat out somehow?
Yeah, I didn't want to let the ball get too deep. I tried to, almost make a little X in front of home plate and know that the barrel of the bat needed to get out there is where my contact point was.
Foul back.
See how deep that ball got on him? That ball went way back onto home plate, and he didn't get the head of the bat out. And what happens is you try to track the ball with your eyes so much that you forget to get the head of the bat out there. You're going to see him make contact with this ball deep on the home plate as you see that ball getting way back on him.
Back point of the plate. 1-2. Bouncer to short. He's going to have to hustle. Out at second, and it's a double play. Twins get 3 straight hits to tie the game up. It's one apiece moving to the third.
Get out on the field. Yeah, it's been a process, and trying to get back out there as soon as I can. So it was a good day today.
So what kind of timetable is still hard to say when?
We don't really have a timetable. Hopefully it's sooner than later. But hopefully I'm out there soon.
Mauer, of course, speaking about his recovery from a concussion after taking a foul ball off the mask.
Yeah, we hope he's out there again soon, too.
And then the question will be, when he returns, where will he play? Will it be behind the plate? Will it be as a designated hitter? Will it be perhaps at first base? Right now, the Twins very short in terms of first baseman. Chris Colabello, really the only guy who's got any appreciable background there. Anthony Goes leading things off. Josh Thole and Jose Reyes will bat third for the Blue Jays this inning. Off the inside corner, ball 1.
Well, a lot of people speculating on Joe Mauer. I've read and heard, while he might be out for the season, but it was good to hear Joe say, hey, no, I want to come back and I want to play. I don't want to end the season now.
Just to right center field. Presley gets behind it and hustles it in. Here comes the throw, the runner going, and he's in with a double. This Blue Jay team is a very athletic team. Goes, stretches a single into a double to start the third inning, the first Toronto hit.
Yeah, this guy can fly right here. Now, he saw what Presley did. Watch this pitch right here. Just lines it into right center. And it's Presley who's playing even up. You can see him behind Pelfrey going for that ball. And it's Goes right there that decides when he rounds first base, the hustle out of the box. Right there, he decides I can make it to second base, head first slide, and he does.
Blue Jays got a runner in the first inning to second base with nobody out, pushed him across to score. Here's Josh Thole, light hitting catcher, but he can catch the knuckleball, and so he has followed Dickey from the Mets here to the Blue Jays.
Goes came up a little bit last year, hit 223, had a tough time, but you know what, he's come back up again, and he wants to make an impression. This Blue Jay ball club, they're letting a lot of these young kids getting the opportunity to see, if they are they in next year's plan. So that little hustle right there, believe me, that's nice little brownie points for Goes.
2-0 to Thole. John Gibbons, a good friend of Ron Gardenhire's, getting a second chance to manage the Blue Jays.
Yeah, last couple of years it was Johnny Farrell, but John Farrell now the manager of the Boston Red Sox.
Slap to left, a base hit by Thole. Goes is going to be held with the throw coming in from Arcia to the cutoff man Blue. First and third, nobody out. First 2 hits of the game for the Jays.
Yeah, ball
come
just
consecutively.
Ball left out over the plate, and a good piece of hitting right here. You can see where Florimon is playing more up the middle, and Coles does a good job of just hitting that ball the other way.
9 at bats completed, and Pelfrey's only thrown 32 pitches, but now in a tie game, 1st and 3rd, nobody out. He's got to face Reyes and Davis and very likely Encarnacion. Popped up and out of play. 1 strike. Reyes on the first pitch of the game hit a 2-hopper right at Florimon, and he booted it for an error. Reyes went to second on a wild pitch, went to third on a ground ball, scored on a fly ball. So the Blue Jays got their first run without a hit. Obviously an unearned run.
Yeah, Reyes missed over 2 months with a sprained left ankle, and that was the 10th game of the year for the Blue Jays. So you lose your shortstop right off the get-go. Jays were off to a terrible start, 10-20 in their first 30 ball games, and just have not really recovered since that bad April.
Another one slapped to left, a base hit, and it's 2-1. Twins got 3 straight hits in the 2nd inning to score a run. Now the Blue Jays start the 3rd with 3 straight hits.
Now Reyes with that base hit, driving in his 32nd run of the year. Ball left up, and the inside out swing by Reyes. Drives in, goes.
1st and 2nd, nobody out. Rajai Davis hit a bouncer to short his first time up. Bello creeping in at first in the event of a bunt. Plouffe doing the same from third. Davis shows bunt and takes ball 1.
Yeah, Davis on the year, only 1 sacrifice on the year.
Davis so fast, and he would be a likelier candidate to drop the bunt here because the Twins would have to execute a play just to get him out at first.
He's hit into 7 double plays. Pelfrey has been able to get 16 double plays turned behind him.
Fly ball down the right field line, chased by Thomas. And Thomas, it's a foul ball. He reached for it as he was getting close to the stands. Just a strike.
Yeah, the stands here at Target Field kind of jet out toward that right field line, and right in the corner, Thomas keeping his eye on the ball, but you can see just about a glove short of making a nice catch.
But the vendor just absolutely bailed on that ball. I don't blame him, but the vendor there in the fluorescent shirt,
can't miss him.
1-1 to Rajai Davis. Another one fouled away. Now, at least Clete Thomas reached for the ball. Covering his ears. Been a vendor for a lot of years here at Target Field, back at the Metrodome. Might even go back to the Met Stadium days. 1-2. And chop foul. Twins have just 1 road trip left this year, 3 in Chicago and 3 in Oakland. 4 in Oakland, excuse me. 10-game homestand, and then the season ends at home with the Twins playing 7 games. So 17 of their final 24 games played here at Target Field. The problem has been they haven't played particularly well here again this year, particularly lately. 1-2. Nice job by Pinto. Coors Light cold hard fact speaks to the futility the Twins have had at home again this year. One of the points of emphasis this year for Ron Gardenhire and the Twins reestablish a home field advantage, and it has not happened.
Yeah, last year they lost more games at home than they did on the road.
There's one win in the last 10 here in their home ballpark. 2-2 to Davis. And another chopper, this one off a foot.
And you almost have to do that again if you're Mike Pelfrey. You need that ground ball somehow. And you know, we have seen, I still watched that game against the Texas Rangers, and boy, did he have that good sinker down and away, and that's what he's trying to do with Davis. 14-13 in the first 2 innings, 13 so far, looking for his first out here in the third.
Another 2-2 pitch. High fly to left. Garcia back at the track. There's the catch. Runner will bluff and advance. And Garcia gets it back in accurately on one hop. 2 down. Or excuse me, 1 down. And that'll bring up Edwin Encarnacion. And he is part of our AT&T Twitter poll tonight. Who is your favorite American League power hitter to watch? You can vote via Twitter using the hashtags on the screen. Chris Davis leading the league in home runs with 48. Miguel Cabrera 43. Encarnacion at 36. And Jose Bautista will finish this year at 28.
Oh, this guy right here is strong. 42 home runs, a career high last year when he drove in 110 runs. And when that sacrifice fly in the first inning, that was 104th RBI of the year.
You know, one thing that I think could be said of all 4 of those guys is it took them a while to figure it out. I mean, Davis really struggled. Texas pretty much gave up on Chris Davis, and then eventually he found something last year and carried it forward to this year. Cabrera was always a very good hitter with the Marlins, but nothing like he's been the last 2 years with the Tigers. And similarly, Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, they bounced around a number of different organizations and finally found something in Toronto.
Yeah, got a chance to play more on a regular basis. Encarnacion came up as an outfielder, third baseman with the Cincinnati Reds back in 2005. Came over to the Blue Jays in 2009. That open stance. A lot of power.
Set up inside and the ball outside. 3-0 now to Encarnacion.
Encarnacion has enjoyed hitting home runs on the road. 24 of them, 3 behind Miguel Cabrera.
He hasn't played here yet, where he, like Bautista, has done very well at Target Field. 3-0. Taking all the way, and it's a strike on the outside corner. Pelfrey, 2 really good innings, and then the leadoff double setting the tone here. The only out recorded on a deep fly ball to left. One pitch, a good pitch here, could get him out of the inning. Missed inside. Now they're loaded up for Adam Lind. In one sense, at least, Pelfrey would be the perfect guy to pitch a good ball game against Toronto like he did in early July, because he's probably the best Twins pitcher at keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's only given up a dozen home runs. Quick trip to the mound by Rick Anderson, though, here in the third.
Yeah, Rick coming out, just trying to, calm him down right here and get him back in that strike zone. He's left some pitches up this inning that created the first 3 hits.
You can still get the group together and head down to Target Field for a group outing. You can organize a business group, church group, school group, or just a bunch of your friends and neighbors. Visit twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS and get a great deal on group tickets today. 24 games in 24 days. The Twins, by September standards, really haven't had much in the way of reinforcements yet. Pelfrey really struggling in the third. They don't want any more short starts than they can tolerate here over the next 3.5 weeks. See what Lynn does here with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Well, Lind has hit into 17 double plays. Got to get that sinker down and away like that.
At the corner, strike 1. Lind struck out in the first inning. That wrapped up the first inning. Driven foul right over the head of Tolley at third base. Two strikes, and Pelfrey, absent a ground ball double play here, would take a strikeout.
Ball down and away, of course, is in foul territory, but get down.
Oh, 0-2 to Adam Lynn. Struck him out at 95. He came high and tight and struck him out for the second time.
2 good sinkers away, and then that fastball put a little extra on it to pick up his 4th strikeout. A big strikeout right there for Pelfrey.
That's where, again, I think your contention that he's free and easy, he's not thinking about it. You want to go up there, you better throw that pitch with some conviction at 95 to get the strikeout.
And he did.
2 down, and now Brent Lowry. If Pelfrey can get out of this inning with just 1 run allowed, that would be a lift, I would think, for everybody. Around the hands at 95. Ball 1. Lowry hit a ground ball to short his first time up.
You can always tell when somebody's throwing hard when you can hit that. You can hear the catcher's glove, Pinto's glove. You can hear the pounding of the glove. 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
1-0. And a strike, 1-1. And the velocity's all well and good, but again, in the second half, we've seen better command from Pelfrey. And it's been off a little bit this inning. We've seen Pinto setting up a target inside, and the pitch has been outside. But generally, he's had much better command of his fastball. 1-1. Target outside, and the pitch is out there. 2-1. Two and 1 to Lowry.
Nasty sinker down and in. That's the pitch that he has really shown a lot of confidence in, is a movement of that pitch right there. Watch this pitch, pretty much down the inner half of the plate, and then just breaks down and in. Great location, good arm angle right there on that last pitch. 6'7", Mike Pelfrey.
Up the middle and through. It'll score 2 runs, and the Jays take a 4-1 lead. 1 pitch away from getting out of it, and Lowry fights a 2-strike single up the middle.
It does almost look like Lowry was looking for that ball right there after he swung on the 1-2 pitch. That ball left up a little bit, about thigh high, and Lowry hit it right back up the middle, picking up his 39th and 40th RBI, and it's a 4-1 Blue Jay lead. Pelfrey upset.
Still first and second, 2 down, and Moises Sierra. Driven to right center field. That'll score at least 1 more. Encarnacion being waved around. And it will be a 2-run double, and now Sierra trapped between second and third. And Plouffe tags him out to end the inning. But in the inning, a walk, 5 hits, and 5 runs for Toronto. Your link to what's next. By Grand Casino, the best stories start here. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Big inning for the Blue Jays. They now lead it 6-1 thanks to 5 hits and 5 runs and a couple of big 2-out hits. See what the Twins can do to answer here in the bottom of the third. Switch hitter Pedro Florimon will hit right-handed against the right-handed knuckleballer R.A. Dickey. Florimon takes ball 1. And now a strike. I asked Steve Sparks, former knuckleballer, why switch hitters would do this, and many of them do hit from the same side as the pitcher pitches from. And he said most hitters like the ball moving toward the barrel of the bat, and a knuckleball, when it's thrown to a right-handed batter, acts much like a slider, was the comparison Steve Sparks used, like that one there. You're not going to, you might swing and miss it at the pitch, but it'll be because the ball is dropped up or down, not because it's moved that much side to side. Fouled away by Florimon. And so you'll see switch hitters very often do what Florimon is doing, even though he's been a better left-handed hitter this year than right-handed.
Yeah, we saw with Nick Punto, we saw with Denny Hawking when they faced, say, Tim Wakefield, they would hit from the right side of the plate. But opponents hitting .245 against Dickey overall. He has allowed 29 home runs. Left-handed hitters hitting .251, right-handers only .237. And left-handers have hit 20 of the 29 home runs.
2-2 to Florimon. And another tapper foul. When the Twins beat Dickey in Toronto, Brian Dozier late hit a 3-run home run, drove in 4 runs. But the other key hits, key at bats, came from guys like Chris Parmelee, Aaron Hicks, Eduardo Escobar, Jamie Carroll, and Joe Mauer. None of those 5 are in the lineup here tonight for one reason or another. Here's a ball lifted to right center, and Sierra wants it for the first out. BTN To Go brings you access to tomorrow's Minnesota versus New Mexico State game. You can watch the game live. BTN To Go is now available for free to all major subscribers who receive BTN through their cable, satellite, or participating video providers. Tomorrow at 7 Central, only on BTN To Go. Available in the App Store and on Google Play. To learn more, go to btntogo.com. Alex Presley hit a fly ball to left to start the ball game for the Twins. right center field. And Sierra has that ball full. Presley running to second, and he's in with a double. Sierra took a horrible angle to the ball. The ball landed, it looked like, about 25 feet behind him. The only thing I can gather is he might have lost that ball in the lights over the third base.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this ball came in as a knuckleball, and it maybe went out there as a knuckleball. Watch Sierra right here from right field come over, and he was completely fooled by that ball. And it was Goes, who the center fielder, knocked it down. And good hustle by Presley going to second base.
A foul ball, although I'm not sure Tolley was convinced. May have thought the ball got to the backstop on its own. One strike to Thomas, who also hit a fly ball to that his first time up. On the outside corner.
Just take a look at that first pitch right there.
Just fanned on it.
Yep.
2 strikes. Line to the third baseman. And Lowry fires it toward the second base bag, but has the presence of mind to throw it to the second baseman instead of the bag. He looked at second base, and all he saw was the retreating Presley, and Goins was still in his position. 2 down.
Well, softly hit right off the end of the bat. Lowry getting it, and then a little around the horn.
2 down. Here's Brian Dozier. Mentioned that Dozier got the big hits, drove in a run early in the ball game against Dickey, and then hit a 3-run home run against Dickey in his 7th inning of work at the Rogers Center. One strike. We saw the Blue Jays drive in 4 runs with a couple of 2-out hits, hoping that Dozier can provide one for them here in the third. Swinging a foul, 2 strikes. What makes this run by Dozier, power run, so impressive is he's extended it for more than 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, pretty good names up there. You know, Carpenter and Cano and Kipnis having a very solid year with the Indians, and Brian Dozier only 11 extra base hits behind Chuck Knobloch.
2 strikes to Dozier. And one of those extra base hits again, a 3-run home run.
Chuck
against
Knobloch
Dickey,
holding the Twins record for second baseman's most extra base hits.
And he got him with a strikeout, stranding Presley at second base. It's 6-1 Toronto.
Twins came back and tied the game. Colabello blocking in Trevor Plouffe to make it 1-1. But in the third inning, 3 straight hits. And then later in the inning, a couple 2-run base hits gave the Blue Jays a 6-1 lead. Mike Pelfrey needed 28 pitches in that third inning.
Going to go left center field. That won't be caught. Lands on the warning track. And Ryan Goins, who struck out his first time up against Pelfrey, tees off on the first pitch of the 4th inning.
I think what we're seeing, Pelfrey, the first 2 innings went very smoothly for him. 3 strikeouts. See that ball left up a little bit. And you know, that ball, even though it had some movement on it, it kind of stayed on that same plane.
Twins enjoying their last off day of the season, and they were, if not counting on, hoping that Pelfrey would go deep into the ball game here, but off to a rough start here. 5 hits and 5 runs in the third. Now leadoff double in the 4th. Here's Anthony Goes, who started that mess, stretching what looked to be a single into a double, leading off the 3rd inning. Pulled to first. Colabello picks it up. Looks across the diamond, goes to the bag, 1 away. That'll bring up Josh Tolley. Fox Sports 1 is now available on all major TV providers. Go to foxsports1.com to find out what channel Fox Sports 1 will be on in your area.
As he goes right there, should get high fives all around. Good at bat, even though he grounded out to first base. That allowed Goins to go over to third base, so a productive out. So the nice hustle double in the third, and then doing his job right there, advancing the runner.
Josh Tolley slashed a single to left field in the 3rd inning, right after the Goes double. 1 strike.
Well, Twins playing the infield in.
High and tight, 1-1. Not the best time to be playing the Blue Jays. As we said, they've won their last 3 series. They, like the Twins, don't have any postseason hopes. Nor do they have any hope of getting out of last place in their division. Twins are in 4th place. Blue Jays are in 5th. Swinging a foul. Toronto 20 games back of the Red Sox. The Orioles, the 4th place team, 9.5 games back.
Anthony Swarzak getting loose.
1-2. Fastball up high, 2-2.
I think Dick got out of spring training. Everybody on paper looked at the Blue Jays and said, boy, they're going to compete probably against the Red Sox, and of course the Rays are always going to be there. But does not happen this year.
4 teams in that division in contention. 2-2. The ball popped up. Plouffe across the line and foul ground as a play. Out number 2. Back to the top of the order, Jose Reyes. Twins tickets remain available and affordable, with some seats starting at just $8. A lot of baseball left at Target Field this season. We told you 17 of the last 24 games are played here at home. Check out the Steal of the Week and demand-based pricing for more great deals on single-game purchases all season long. These and other special deals available every day of the week at twinsbaseball.com/tickets or by calling 800-33-TWINS. American League East, the only division that has 4 teams in contention. The Central has 3. The West has 2. And the National League, realistically, the East has just 1. National League has 3. And the National League West has just 1. 2-0. Reyes has reached twice and scored twice. Three and oh. And Pelfrey with a little flippant gesture toward Mark Wegner, wondering where the pitch was. At least I think that's what his gesture was all about. 3-0 to Reyes. At the knees at 96. Extra vinegar behind that pitch. Second walk issued by Pelfrey.
Tried the changeup down and away and did not get the call.
And now Davis 0 for 2. Bouncer to short and a warning track fly ball to left.
Let's take a look at the 3-1 pitch right here.
Right there.
Yep. Track says it's a good pitch.
We've talked about this before, but not in a while. First pitch to Davis, and it's looped behind second base, and Dozier ends the inning.
I guess we won't be talking about it.
It's going to be a longer time now before we talk about it again. Is presented by McDonald's. Try the new premium McWrap at McDonald's today. I'm loving it. And by Toyota. Let's go places. To find your nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Josh Willingham leads off the fourth inning. He takes a knuckleball for strike one from R.A. Dickey. He took one for strike three, leading off the second inning. 1-1.
That pitch right there clocked here at 68 miles an hour. He'll give you that fast windup and then throw a little floater in there. He'll throw a little bit harder.
Missed the inside corner, 2-1.
On that trade with the Mets and the Blue Jays, Tolley came along with R.A. Dickey. He caught R.A. Dickey last year when he won the Cy Young Award for the Mets.
If there's anyone happier than R.A. Dickey that Dickey won the Cy Young Award, it probably was Josh Tolley. Knuckleball catchers are even rarer than knuckleball pitchers. And Willingham swings through one, a foul tip caught by Tolley, 1 away.
Second time that Willingham has struck out against Dickey. Again, changing speeds with that knuckleball and rolls it hard. And we expect it maybe to drop. And Willingham just swinging right through it.
Trevor Plouffe cracked a double into the right field corner his first time up and then scored on Colabello's opposite field single. Ball one. Twins have hit .320 in the month of September, but of course put an asterisk by that. The Twins for 3 games faced a Houston pitching staff that is struggling right now. 2-0. Twins hit a lot of home runs on the road trip. They now have hit 135 and allowed 135. It's a foul.
Twins of the 135, 80 of them have been on the road, 55 here at Target Field.
Dozier's launched quite a few here at Target Field. Dozier has a chance for a 20 home run season. He's got 17. Plouffe with 14. 3-0, 3-1 rather, and a strike 3-2.
You know, we're going to bring in Ron Coomer here in a minute, but I think what we've seen on the road, more multi-home runs on the road than here at Target Field. A lot of solo home runs here at Target Field. All 3 grand slams the Twins have hit this year have been on the road.
Yeah, when you look at just even the last road trip where we swung the bat very well and hit the ball in the seats, you look at the 2 ballparks. The ballpark in Arlington, a very good ballpark to hit in right center gap. The ball jumps and you can go deep in any part of the park. Obviously in Houston, that's a great hitter's ballpark with the short porch and left. And I just think, you know, you get that mindset when you step into a batter's box where the ballpark plays small. You know, the at-bats are just better and guys swing the bat a little better, and I think that's what we saw this last road trip.
Arcia takes ball 1. Arcia singled his first time up.
Well, the Twins don't anticipate bringing in the fences here, so what do the Twins do to have better records at home, Ron?
Well, I think, you know, and that's a great point, Bert, and the bottom line is you have to play to your home ballpark, and I think, you know, what you have to do then is you have to pitch it, play very good defense, and you got to get guys that can run, because this is a big spacious outfield. I think stealing, bunting, situational hitting, and being able to run the bases is going to be very important for the Twins, because as we've seen, the middle of this ballpark plays very large.
This one hit to center, goes over a few steps. Dickey has a 1-2-3 4th inning. On to the 5th. It's 6-1 Toronto.
fall night, and it's a great night out here to celebrate your birthday. We are standing smack dab in the middle of the Minnesota State Lottery winner circle with a big winner tonight, guys. She's 75. It's her birthday. She came all the way down from Moorhead to celebrate with us. Marilyn, first off, happy birthday. You're going to get circled by a Hall of Famer. You're here with 13 family and friends. What's your favorite aspect of being at Target Field for birthday number 75?
Well, just being with my friends and family and at Target Field.
It is a lovely night for your birthday. We hope the Twins come back and get you winning. Bert, she did promise if she wins something with the $100 in scratch-off tickets, she's going to buy you some new golf balls. She feels bad that you're out of golf balls.
Tell her thank you very much and happy birthday to that young lady. And I'll tell you what, I don't know who was doing the circling while I was gone on the road.
Wasn't me. Don't blame me.
It was terrible. Roy, thanks for taking, my spot on the road, but you've got to do a better job of circling. My goodness.
Well, I just saw your thing there. That was, wasn't one of your best.
Piece of art, wasn't it?
Wasn't one of your better efforts either.
No.
You're out of
that
practice.
Was outstanding.
Encarnacion with 2 strikes. Now 3 strikes, 1 away.
Well, the third inning was not a good inning for Mike Pelfrey, giving up the 5 hits and the 5 runs. But what he can do, and he's right now at 63, 64 pitches, he can get deep into the ball game, take some of that workload off of the relievers out in that bullpen. Saw Swarzak up earlier already, so hopefully Pelfrey can get maybe through this inning, maybe one more. One thing both these clubs have used their bullpens a lot of innings.
This one lifted to left center, chased by Arcia. Makes the catch out to number 2. Quick second out here in the 5th. From America's #1 pregame show comes the all-new Fox Football Daily, featuring an all-star lineup of experts and NFL legends. Get everything you love on Sunday every day of the week. Fox Football Daily, weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern. That would be, of course, 5 o'clock Central on America's new sports network, Fox Sports 1. Here's Brett Lowry. Swinging a foul. 1 strike. Lowry got the first of 2 big 2-out hits in the 3rd inning for the Jays, each of them driving in 2 runs. It was a manageable 2-1 ball game, and then Lowry drove in 2 with a single. Sierra drove in 2 with a double. Outside, 1-1. All right, give you another shot here. Oh, now that's by the truck.
No, that was me.
That was not you, because you go counterclockwise.
That was Roy Smollett. That was perfect. Nice job, Roy.
Oh, back. One and 2. Just note that I left your circle machine alone all year long.
You did. All right. I don't know. You sure that wasn't you?
I'm positive.
I can vouch for him, guys, while I was on the road for it.
Yeah, there you go.
We didn't let him anywhere near it, and I didn't want to get near it either, but that's,
Yeah, and your circles were terrible, too.
I don't disagree with that at all.
2-2 to Brett Lowry.
Good pitch.
Just off the corner.
Oh, you see Pelfrey's reaction right there. He wanted that one, even though that ball was up. Let's take a look, see what Fox Track says.
Outside.
Good pitch. Strike 3.
Fouled off a leg. Mentioned the Twins are in 4th place. No consolation really in finishing somewhere other than last, but the Twins are 5.5 games ahead of the White Sox, who have fallen back in the tank after a good week and a half stretch. White Sox losing again tonight at Camden Yards, 4-0 in the bottom of the 8th. There's a called 3rd strike. Lowry knew it. Pelfrey back with a 1-2-3 5th inning on just 11 pitches. third inning for Toronto. It's a 6-1 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. Rick Anderson and Mike Pelfrey. Pelfrey looks like he might be appealing to stay in the game a little longer. Up and away, ball one.
Yeah, 80 pitches. Again, you know, you have a bad inning early in the ball game. You still your responsibility to get deep into the ball game. Pelfrey hopefully can go 1 or 2 more.
1-0 to Colabello. Pop up. Second baseman Goins with the catch, 1-1. And that'll bring up Osmil Pinto. Bounced into a double play. The Twins had a chance to actually take a lead in the second inning. They tied the game at 1 with 3 straight hits. And Dickey got Pinto to bounce into a 6-4-3.
Yeah, Pinto off to a good start. Now 7 hits and 11 at-bats at the major league level. Pretty good start. But here's a young kid that at 24 years old from Venezuela started the season in Double-A, promoted to Triple-A, and now finishing the season at the major league level.
Pinto came into the game hitting 700. Ron Coomer, we know he won't do that, but he might hit 300 if he continues to use the whole field like he's done so far.
Yeah, he's only hitting 636 now going into this at bat. But yeah, that's been the thing that's been the most impressive. We haven't seen him catch a lot yet, but he's looked pretty good blocking pitches, as you guys have said. But to me, the impressive part is he's able to take the ball in and shoot it the other way when you need to, or take the ball to the middle and hit it right back to the middle. To me, he's gotten hits all over the field, and that's the one thing when you see a young hitter. If he's able to do that, you know things are going to be pretty good. He's pretty fundamentally sound. You see the ball that he hits here, that ball out and away, that knuckleball, and he can almost throw everything away with the knuckleball. And this isn't very conventional, but a very good swing as he keeps his head on the ball.
Yeah, very well balanced on that swing right there.
Here's Florimon again hitting right-handed. Takes strike 1.
Dick, you guys were in Houston, and he took some of them sliders coming down and in, or sinkers down and in Houston, and he pulled some balls into the corner and then shot the ball the other way his next at bat. That's impressive when you see a young guy do that.
And you just hope, don't you, that as he continues to get some at-bats here, and say he is on the roster next year, he continues with that same approach. So many times you see somebody that come up and it looks like they've got some things figured out, and then they try to do too much, or the league adjusts to them and they don't adjust back. 1-1. We're going to miss 1 and 2.
Yeah, without question. What you want to do as a hitter, especially you're going to play 81 dates in this ballpark, you want to stay above the ball like you just did with that base hit up the middle, and drive the ball down and stay on top of the baseball and use the whole field. And I think we've seen that from him so far, and it's, you know, it's been good. The catching part of him blocking pitches has been very good too so far.
Yeah, sometimes, Ron, all we have is numbers in the minor leagues, and pretty good numbers. This year, Double-A, Triple-A combined, hit 309, hit 15 home runs, drove in 74 runs in 126 ball games, and, you know, finishing strong here, and hopefully leaving a good impression going into spring training next year.
Inside again, 3 and 2.
Yeah, I think for the Twins, and, you know, when you look at how the catching position kind of sets up. You know, obviously Joe Mauer's an all-star catcher, but when you're going to give Joe some days, you got Herman, who's able to play multiple positions, and now you got a young guy who looks like he's going to be able to handle a position at this level and swing the bat and do some good. So, you know, as far as behind the plate, the Twins look pretty solid.
Full count. Twins down by a bunch with 1 out. Don't expect them to send Pinto here. Ouch. Oh, that awful,
right in the
sickening
kitchen
sound. Florimon hit right above his hands. All that work, the decades it took to grow that tree, and then the hours of craftsmanship at the bat factory, and it's all out the window. Oh, hate that sound.
Now, remember what I was telling about getting the head of the bat out to the ball? That's not quite it.
That got in the kitchen big time, right in the refrigerator.
Here's Alex Presley with a runner at second and 2 down. Presley dropped a double into right center field, although Sierra, the right fielder, appeared to lose sight of it in the lights, the twilight, or maybe he was just having a bad day out there. 1 strike. Ooh, Mark Wegner looked like he flinched a little bit, but Presley has a 1-1 count. as excited as you are when someone like Pinto, who's rapidly climbed through the system to get to the big leagues, maybe a more intriguing player is Presley, who comes to the Twins as a leadoff candidate and a center fielder. Strike called 1 and 2. And you have to wonder, don't you, what the Presley's presence on this roster means for Aaron Hicks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look at Presley's minor league numbers. 8 seasons in the Pirate minor league system, a .292 hitter. Guy that can steal some bases. He looks like a leadoff hitter. You know, not a big guy, 5'10", 190. Kind of a slap type hitter, just hits it the other way.
Well, come back to the mound. Easy play for Dickey.
Home and knuckle.
Twins lead Pinto at second base. It's still 6-1. A near catch by Clete Thomas in right field.
You're off the bat of R.J. Davis right here. Thomas just coming up a bit short. Thomas almost making the catch, and the vendor protecting his head.
Business as usual. Moises Sierra will lead things off in the 6th. Then Ryan Goins and Anthony Goes. Baltimore beat Chicago 4-0. John Danks taking the loss. The Orioles trying to hang in there in the wild card race. One of the challenges for the likes of the Orioles and the Yankees and the Indians and the Royals. There's a foul back. When you look at the wild card standings, and they will rank the teams right now, Oakland and Tampa Bay are the leaders in the wild card standings. And so if you're Cleveland, you say, well, you've got 4 teams to catch. In reality, you got 7 teams to catch, because the wild card standings don't rank the division leaders, who also are ahead of you. Somebody's going to win the division. Someone's going to finish, you know, 2nd or maybe even 3rd and get into the wild card. But in Kansas City's case, they've got 5 teams ahead of them in the wild card standings, but 8 teams ahead of them in the overall league standings, which means in reality they're in the bottom half of the league in the standing.
Yeah, but Kansas City doesn't care. I mean, look what Kansas City's been able to do this year, you know. And
yeah.
Hey, that's all you want going into September. Give us a chance. Maybe we'll get hot and catch fire and win, you know, 10, 15 in a row. You never know. That's what you want in September as a ball player, too. You want to play for something rather than a spoiler.
Back to Pelfrey. 1 down, and that'll bring up Goins. If you're looking for something extra special when you come here to Target Field, something to take home, you can check out the kiosk at the ballpark that has a vast array of game-used merchandise, bats, balls, jerseys, all items used in a game here at Target Field. You can check it out between gates 29 and 34 out in right field. Get tickets by calling 800-33-TWINS or visiting twinsbaseball.com. Here's Goins. There it is. You can get a game-used bat. Popped up a foul ball that'll spin back into the seats. If they can retrieve all the pieces, you could get Pedro Floremone's bat perhaps after he got jammed in the bottom of the 5th inning.
So we have not been to Oakland yet. That might be an out in Oakland right there.
With all the foul territory.
Right. Looking forward to going to Oakland.
1 strike to Goins. It's an oddity, and it doesn't change the standings or the plight the Twins find themselves in, but the Twins have won the season series against everybody else in the American League West, but they have not yet faced the Oakland A's. And strike on the outside corner.
Good changeup right there by Pelfrey. 88 pitches for Pelfrey. 58 strikes. Couple walks, 6 strikeouts.
Off the end of the bat. We mentioned the Twins start tonight a streak of 24 games in 24 days, no off days. That's just the part of the beginning of the tough stretch for the Twins. You also have to factor in who the Twins are going to be playing. They've got 7 games left with Oakland, 3 with Tampa Bay, and Detroit, we assume by the last homestand, will have things pretty much wrapped up in the division. But then the 4 games at the end of the year with Cleveland could be critical games for the Indians in their hopes of getting a playoff spot. 1-2. You would like to be the team playing those meaningful games in September, but it sure is fun when the team you're playing has a lot at stake.
Well, you know, Twins have something to say about Oakland. You know, Texas and Oakland are right there neck and neck, and also the Rays are, you know, hanging in there against the Boston Red Sox.
Dozier gets a chance. Out number 2. Regarding the Tigers, they are apparently now treating the Royals like they've treated the Indians all season long. Big series for the Royals in Kansas City. Big game. James Shields going for Kansas City, and it's 7-1 Detroit. Bases loaded, top of the 4th inning. Shields having a tough time, and the analogy I've used, of course, it's like a cat playing with a mouse, and then when the cat gets serious, it's pretty much the end of the game for the mouse. 2 down. Here's Goes. At the knees, a strike. That Detroit team still looks awfully good.
Yes, they do.
And if you acknowledge that you can't play at a high level for an entire 162 game season, the Tigers have done this year what they did last year. They played their best at certain times at those key junctures against those key teams to stay in front all year long. 2 strikes to Goes.
Well, the big thing is they've pretty much controlled the Central Division, 38-23 in the division.
Pulled the foul. Still 2 strikes. Beautiful night for baseball. It feels like mid-July. Temperatures in the low 90s. Another beautiful day again tomorrow. One and 2. Foul. Still 1 and 2.
Pelfrey's retired the last 6 straight, trying to get through the 6th inning here with 2 outs. Pitch number 97.
Another chopper foul. Pelfrey hoping that he's got a finishing kick. He had the one rough inning in the third, hoping to complete 6, and then figures to get 3 more starts after this, and hoping to give the Twins 3 quality starts. He said he has really enjoyed his year with the Twins. After a rough first couple of months, he's given the Twins competitive starts. The one thing he has done now as of late in August, 6 starts, and 3 times he pitched into or through the 7th inning. 2-2.
Yeah, his last outing in Arlington, 7 very good innings, only allowed the 1 run. No walks, 7 strikeouts, but the Twins ended up losing that ball game 2-1. We got a no decision in that outing.
Two. 3-2 with Tolley on deck. 100 pitches on the dot for Mike Pelfrey.
Yeah, the 3rd inning, the 28 pitches, and right here in the 6th, this would be pitch number 21. Make it a good one.
Goes, wastes another 2-strike pitch.
Well, here's what I'm talking about, that last start for Pelfrey in Arlington on Saturday. 7 outstanding innings. No walks. Tried a season-high 7 strikeouts.
Three and 2 again to Goes. Finally put him away. 94 miles per hour. A strikeout. Pelfrey completes 6. Is down by 5. Fox Sports North girl Angie.
Thanks, Dick. Happy to be here. Well, tonight we're asking fans who they'd like to see as the Twins' everyday first baseman next season. Tweet us using #Twins1B and be sure to stay tuned for Twins Live postgame. You could see your tweet on the air. Dick and Bert, this is a hot topic after the recent Morneau trade.
It is, and my guess is Justin will get a lot of support. There is some thought out there, of course, that Justin, we know he'd be interested in re-signing with the Twins. There's a possibility he will do just that. Down and in, you are away, so let's get your thought about the Twins dealing a guy who'd been a fixture in the lineup for more than 10 years.
Well, being a player that got traded this time of the year or whenever, I'm happy for Justin. He's with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and hopefully they'll go to postseason. They'll get a chance to get some postseason action. He's a free agent at the end of the year. The Twins were able to go out and get a couple of young kids in return. But so far, so good for Justin as a bucko.
One down. Nice play by Goins to retire Thomas, first out of the 6th. And now Brian Dozier. Colabello getting a chance to show what he can do at first. That ball grounded foul.
You know, one thing, about Joe Mauer, with the concussion and the way that it is portrayed now, you wonder if Twins would look next year and say, is Joe going to be our first baseman? They've got a lot of money invested in him, and the last thing they want to do is put him behind the plate again and continue the concussion issues.
Popped up right side. Goins going out. Sierra coming in. 2 down. Well, they were not only teammates. At one point, they were roommates. So Joe Mauer, of course, hated to see his former teammate and the other end be traded.
Just weird in the clubhouse. Them not at his locker, but I've talked to him a number of times since it happened, and I'm happy for him. For his career, and he's back in that atmosphere that all of us players want to be in, and in the playoffs and chasing that postseason, and he's doing better.
Josh Willingham, the batter, as he told me, he got upgraded. He took over Justin Morneau's locker stall in the clubhouse. 1-0 to Willingham. Having a tough time with the knuckleball.
Yeah, big swing right there. He's swung through some knuckleballs that look like they're hittable, but as Ron Coomer said, they look like butterflies. Sometimes you're trying to catch it with a net. Good luck.
Yeah, he's swinging at the right ones. He's getting some pitches up. He's just swinging through them.
Tight. 2-1. Pelfrey looks like he's done after 6, and it looks like Anthony Swarzak will get a chance to go in the 7th. 2-1 to Willingham. Contact, but not very solid contact. Willingham called out on strikes in the 2nd, went down swinging in the 4th. But foul.
Hey, Ron, I know you're down there. Sometimes you talk to hitters about after facing a knuckleballer. They say they can almost put you in a slump sometimes. Well, I know you had good success against Wakefield and other knuckleballers, but did you hear that from your teammates sometimes?
Well, and I felt that way. You'd face, for me, I faced Wakefield and almost hit 400 off Wakefield through my career. But then he'd come out of the game, and you'd get a guy like Derek Lowe come in out of their bullpen throwing that hard sinker at 93, 94. Like he was throwing 104. And it was just, it's really a major adjustment to face a knuckleballer like Dickey, and then you face a guy that's throwing hard.
A walk by Dickey, his first of the ball game.
And quite happy, I'm sure, to take first base. And now Plouffe, who has a double and a strikeout. Well, in this case, the Blue Jays will back up Dickey tomorrow with Jay Happ. And then it'll be Esmil Rogers going on Sunday. Plouffe doubled and scored in the 2nd. Twins need a long ball here to get a little momentum going the other way. Instead, a ground ball hit right at Goins. Plouffe retired. That ends the 6th. On to the 7th, and it's still 6-1 Toronto. hits for the Jays.
Yeah, Colorado, the only RBI for the Twins, and made it a 1-1 ball game. But then the third inning for the Blue Jays, highlighted by Lowry's 2-run single, followed by Sierra's 2-run single, made it a 6-1 game. And R.A. Dickey worked 6 innings. 28 games in a row that R.A. Dickey has starts in a row that he's worked 5 or more innings. Very steady. R.A. Dickey.
Well, one thing we know that if the games get turned over to the Toronto bullpen with Swarzak warming up, the Twins have no chance because the Blue Jays have 13 relief pitchers posted for this series.
Well, Anthony Swarzak, making his 41st relief appearance. You see the 86 and a third innings. That's the most innings pitched by any reliever in Major League Baseball. His last outing came in Houston last Monday when Albers did not go too deep in the ballgame, so Swarzak had to come out of that game and worked 4 1/3 innings, allowed only 1 run, and the Twins came back and won that game 10-6.
Don't have enough chairs out there in that bullpen. They have 5 left-handed relievers and 8 right-handed relievers. Talk about a team having a 13-man pitching staff, as the Twins have had most of this year. They've right now got a 13-man bullpen.
I like what Jim Leland said. You can have guys called up in September, but make it a certain amount of guys. Maybe 5 or 6, but my goodness, you're going to call up your whole 40-man staff or your roster.
Well, I think this is what Leland is suggesting, that if you want to expand your roster to say 33 guys, then before every series you have to designate the 5 you would use in that series. In other words, you could maybe change those 5 for the next series, just go series to series, and you don't have the folly of a 13-man bullpen, somebody who could just enter the game to pinch run from second to third base on a ground ball. I mean, there's no limit to what you can do now.
What you don't want to do, and I guess I look at it, you don't want September for some clubs to be like spring training.
Right. Florimon with a high throw and going down to reach safely with an awkward slide is Josh Thole.
Tell you what, alert base running by Thole right there, as he saw Calaballo have to get up in the air. And Florimon should be charged with his second error of the ballgame. Thole just hitting the ball the other way. Florimon has plenty of time to make a good throw. It's high. And Thole at the last second diving right there. And unable for Calaballo to apply the tag.
Second error on Florimon, and again it comes leading off an inning. Reyes reached on an error on the first pitch of the game, which right now at least looks like it kind of set the tone for what was going to happen here tonight at Target Field. Outside, 1-1. Saw Pinto as Swarzak came to the game mound before his warm-up tosses. They spent, it looked like at least 30 seconds. And you have to allow for Pinto's inexperience catching Swarzak and everybody up here. He was a ball. Nice pickup, Florimon from his knees. Safe at first. Dozier couldn't get a whole lot on the throw. And of course, Reyes flies down the line. But a good play by Florimon to get the hot ground ball for the first out.
Yeah, that ball was hit sharply right there, and you saw the speed of Reyes getting from home to first to stay out of the double play. That ball hit, Taylor made double play, good feed over to Dozier. An off-balance throw a little bit, didn't have much on it, allows Reyes to beat it out.
Bring up Rajai Davis. Davis 0 for 3. Ground ball, a pop up, and a warning track fly ball to left. Way out in front, strike one.
Good breaking ball there. Good location by Swarzak. Swarzak has all 4 pitches. Fastball, pretty good movement. He keeps it down. That last pitch, the curveball, also a slider and a changeup.
One and one. Twins coming off a road trip, 3 games in Arlington, 3 games in Houston. They won 4. They could have easily won all 6, and they had a couple of games that they won that they could easily have lost, but a really competitive road trip. And now this game off on a lopsided start, a ball driven to right, a base hit. Reyes firing to Florimon. 1 down, runners at first and second, and that'll bring up Encarnacion. There's our AT&T Twitter poll. Who is your favorite American League power hitter to watch? Well, most of you say Chris Davis. Well, half of you do. Brian Dozier isn't on the list yet.
I'm surprised Cabrera only got 3%.
Yeah, I think I'd have to. He's a power hitter, obviously. I don't think there's anybody I enjoy hitting more than Cabrera right now because of his ability to seemingly do whatever he wants to do up there. 1 strike. Guessing he had a part of the 10 runs that the Tigers put up on James Shields and the Royals in the first 4 innings. And Swarzak sticks a fastball on the outside corner, 2 strikes. Napoli hit a grand slam, and the Red Sox have tied the Yankees. 8-8. Going to the 8th inning. Last night, the Red Sox forced Rivera into a blown save, won the game in extra innings. I did not watch the game, but at Yankee Stadium, and the score was 9-8. Now the Red Sox and the Yankees can play a 4-hour 2-1 ball game. I have no idea how long the game was, but it sounds to me like it was at least 4.5, 5 hours of entertainment. Bouncer to short. There's 1 and 2. The error by Florimon does no damage. A scoreless 7th inning for Swarzak. Pepsi fans of the game. A couple of youngsters behind the dugout had their ice cream. One of them has a baseball. Yeah. A night they never forget. Let's take a look at some news and notes. Jose Fernandez with yet another outstanding outing. The Twins were convinced when they faced him about his great promise. Scott Feldman out-dueling John Danks for the Orioles. Cliff Lee with a win over the Atlanta Braves. Here's Oswaldo Arcia starting the Twins' 7th inning. He takes down and in ball 1. Arcia singled in the 2nd and hit a fly ball to center in the 4th. Checked his swing and it's 2-0. Arcia would like to put a convincing swing on this pitch, convincing everyone that his wrist is okay. Hasn't homered since August 10th. Takes one outside, 3-0. Colabello will hit next. 3-1.
Well, 5-run lead. R.A. Dickey's going to do about the same thing as he did on the 3-0-2 pitch. Try to throw it right down the middle.
Blasted to right center field. Won't be caught. And one hops the fence and Arcia has a double. Solid contact by Arcia, and the Twins, for the first time in the ballgame, get their leadoff man aboard against R.A. Dickey.
Yeah, Arcia picking up his 2nd hit of the ball game on his 16th double. And worked the count and ended up getting that fastball, a little tail away, but Arcia hitting the ball sharply, got the barrel of the bat on it. Out to the deepest part of the field, out in center.
A little misstep as he got to the first base bag. It was only going to be a double anyway. Here's Colabello, drove in a run with a broken bat single to right. And the only run of the ball game for the Twins so far. Inside, ball 1, and Dickey fell down as he followed through.
Let's see if he slips right here. Yep. The left foot, and it gave way. The landing foot.
One and 0 to Chris Colabello.
Pete Walker, the pitching coach for the Blue Jays.
Called a strike, 1-1. Fellow said that although we haven't seen it up here in Rochester, his first 6 home runs were pulled to left and left center. He's inside 2-1. He said he hasn't hit a home run here at Target Field yet. This one hit high and deep to left center field. He's hit one here now. A 2-run blast against R.A. Dickey, and it's 6-3.
Oh, tremendous power for Colabello with 24 home runs in AAA. And it connects with 27th here. His first here at Target Field. Knuckleball came right back into the swing. And it's a 6-3 ball game.
Into the bullpen. He's hit one at Target Field, and he has pulled one. 7 on the year, and now Pinto will hit with the bases empty, nobody out. Twins clawing back. All-star reliever Brett Cecil warming up in the Toronto bullpen. Pinto with a single and 2 trips. Strike one to Pinto. Driven foul, 2 strikes. So Pedro Hernandez appreciating and enjoying Colabello's home run. Pinto from Venezuela. Popped up behind first. Sierra. And going into the stands is Goins. Sierra goes into a slide on the warning track.
Well, both the right fielder, you can see Lynn saying, I've got no chance. But
I'm just going to get out of the way. Two strikes to Josmil Pinto. That ball to center, playable for goes. One down. It'll bring up Florimon. Now on FoxSportsNorth.com, 5 things to watch in the Gophers New Mexico State game. Maya Moore stepped up her game this year to an MVP level. And top tweets of the past week from Minnesota area athletes. Away in the 7th, Florimon will face a new pitcher with R.A. Dickey just getting over the 100 pitch mark. He'll be taken out here in the 7th. Gave up a 3-run home run to Brian Dozier and was knocked out of the game. Our CenturyLink link to what's next. The first man up out of the congested Toronto bullpen, left-hander Brett Cecil.
Well, Cecil has struggled as of late, but comes in making his 58th relief appearance. 5 wins, only 1 loss out of that bullpen. Only 44 hits allowed in 59 and 2/3 innings, 23 walks, 3 intentional, but 69 strikeouts.
Florimon continues to hit from the right side, 0 for 2 against the knuckleballer. He'll face Cecil. Breaking ball, over for a strike. Florimon and Presley and the Twins hope to send a few more to the plate here. And the fastball on the outside edge, 0-2. Tough night for Florimon in the field with 2 errors. At the plate, a fly to right and a ground ball to third. Cecil, a failed starter, converted to a reliever, and not the first, nor will it be the last time that a failed starter turned into a pretty good relief pitcher. Florimon swings and misses. Foley fires to first, 2 down. To the top of the order, and Alex Presley. The video game that puts you in the owner's suite is now available free on iPhone and iPad. You can build your ballpark, make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today. Data and usage rates may apply. Presley a double in 3 trips. Hitting .381 as a Twin. Look at Presley, the talents he has, what he brings to the lineup, and he reminds me a little bit of Baltimore's Nate McLouth. Left-hand hitter who's got some speed, he's got some pop.
Yeah, I mentioned as we were talking about that earlier, Dick, it reminds me a little bit of Brett Butler with the Cleveland Indians, a teammate of mine.
On the ground, Cecil comes in, gets the last 2 outs. The Twins get a couple of runs on a leadoff double by Arcia, follow-up home run by Colabello. Today, USAA would like to pay special recognition to all of our service members at home and abroad. Tune in Sunday morning for a special edition of Vikings Beyond the Gridiron. Our crew follows Adrian Peterson down to his hometown of Palestine, Texas. Get an up-close and personal look at the league's MVP in a way you've never seen him before. Sunday morning at 10 on Beyond the Gridiron. We missed you in Texas on the road trip. It was, I think, the high temperatures averaged 100 degrees or so the 6 days we were down there.
I pitched there, so I know how hot it can be.
Strike on the outside corner to Adam Lind. Lind, Lowry, and Sierra in the 8th. Two strikes.
Swarzak starting his second inning of relief, like he's done so many times, multi-innings as far as through an appearance.
Went 4 1/3 innings in his last outing. Of course, then he was toast for a few days after that.
He's been so valuable out of that bullpen. Comes in with an ERA under 3. Fastball away. Good arm angle. And pitch just missing away at 92.
Middle of the Toronto lineup with Lind and Lowry and Sierra. To center. Presley. One away.
Well, for the first out, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins.
It's a lot like reading a bicycle or riding a bicycle.
I've read many bicycles.
And pretty much anybody can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a nice read. Nothing wrong with it. But
Tom Kelly did it.
Yeah.
Ron Coomer did it. Roy Smalley did it.
I've done it in a pinch.
Yeah.
Down in the 8th. Here's Lowry. Chris Colabello's done it in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Two 2-0 to Brett Lowry. And again, Swarzak sticks a fastball on the outside corner. Cleveland beat the Mets 8-1. Baltimore beat the White Sox 4-0. Detroit is probably going to win in Kansas City. It's in the bottom of the 5th, and the Tigers lead 13-1. Dozier, nice pickup. Going to his left, and he throws him out. Lowry tattooed that ball right to the glove of Dozier, 2 down.
Dozier, who's made only 4 errors at second base all season long. That ball hit sharply. Looks like it's going to go into right field, but Dozier, good read. Nice little short hop. And a nice toss over to Colabello for the second out. Nice reaction there, a little hop right there.
Sierra, the batter. Some pretty good names on that list. Cano considered to be the best in the business at second base. Swing and a miss. For future Gold Glove consideration, Dozier has to hit, and that's maybe one of the encouraging things about what we've seen. The more he hits, shouldn't be this way, I know, but it's the way it is. The more he hits, the more recognition he'll get for his defense. 3 up, 3 down, 8th. Brian Dozier with another great play going to his left for out number 2.
Bottom of the 8th, stay with us after the game, fans, for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll break down a solid start by Toronto starter R.A. Dickey, who pitches into the 7th. We'll also talk about Chris Colabello, who has a home run and all 3 RBIs tonight. We'll take you inside the clubhouse and hear from manager Ron Gardner. Twins looking to come back here. Dick and Bert.
Well, Twins still down by 3. Thank you very much, Kevin. It'll be Clete Thomas, Brian Dozier, Josh Willingham with the Twins 8th. Against a new pitcher, Dustin McGowan.
Yeah, McGowan has gone through a couple Tommy John surgeries, has had shoulder surgery, making his 19th relief appearance. McGowan, a big part of the Blue Jays' future. They were hoping back in 2005, but when he first came up as a starter, but he missed all of 2009 and also 2010 with right shoulder surgery. had 2 right shoulder surgeries and then Tommy John surgery back in 2004.
Thomas 0 for 3, Dozier 0 for 3, Willingham 0 for 2 with a walk. At the bell to strike. Twins entered the game with a winning percentage of .442, and that's obviously not good enough. Nubber, and McGowan has an easy play. One down. Trailing here 6-3. Let's get caught up.
Well, see the error by Florimon created a run in the first inning, but the Twins tied it. But a big 5-run third inning off of Belfry. And a 6-1 Blue Jay lead, but Chris Colabello hitting his first home run here at Target Field, his 7th overall, makes it a 6-3 ball game.
Brian Dozier will hit 0 for 3 in the ball game. We're on the hands, ball one. We mentioned the Twins' winning percentage is .442, and that is not good enough. But the defending World Series champions, the San Francisco Giants, have a winning percentage of .443. They're having the type of year the Twins had a couple years ago when they came off a 94-win season and then absolutely collapsed the following year. 1-1 to Dozier. Two and 1. Take much for the Twins with Willingham, Bloof up next, some guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. A runner or two aboard, and somebody goes deep, and the Twins could make things pretty interesting here in the 9th inning. There's the hit. Dozier drives one to right center, and that ball gets by Sierra. Dozier round second. He'll gain third base. A likely triple, I would guess, although Sierra looked like he misplayed another one in right field.
We've seen the routes for Sierra out in right field, not the best. This is just a base hit to right field. Good hitting by Dozier. And then Sierra, you can see kind of the ball just stayed down. And the ball got by him. He was given an error.
Okay.
Dozier getting a base hit and then 2-base error by Sierra.
And now Willingham. Ball off the mask of the Lowry. Salvador Perez of the Royals took one like that last night and eventually had to leave the game. He was back in their starting lineup today, and you can see Tolley using the hockey style mask. That looked like that chipped. It's part of the mask. It looks like there were parts of the mask that came off during that foul ball. Look at this. That could be just
maybe some of the paint.
I was going to say maybe it's just perspiration, but no, I think it's part of the equipment chipped off. Breaking ball away, 1-1. 1-1 to Willingham. That foul. 1-2. Been a tough go for Willingham since the knee surgery. Average has dropped now to .206. Hasn't homered since August 13th here against the Indians. Ball off the plate. Brian Dunson warming up. Sky to center. Goes. coming in now. Tagging is Dozier. And a good bluff. The ball bounces several times to home plate. And Dozier, about a third of the way down, and then slammed on the brakes, 2 away.
Yeah, no chance to tag up right there. I thought Goes did a good job of kind of deking Dozier too, because he kept coming in. Really got behind that ball nicely, and then made the throw toward home plate. The ball was just not hit deep enough to get Dozier to tag up.
Plouffe with a double to the right field corner and a run scored in the second. Since then, a strikeout and a ground ball. Strike one. Right off the end of the bat, 2 strikes. Trying to take advantage of the Toronto error by right fielder Moises Sierra. One and 2. If Plouffe can keep the inning alive, Arcia would have a chance. Presenting the tying run. Up the middle and through. Big 2-out hit for Plouffe. It's 6-4, and Arcia will have his at bat with Plouffe aboard.
Good at bat by Trevor Plouffe. He's been swinging a better bat on that road trip. 10 hits and 20 at bats with a couple home runs. Picking up his second hit here tonight. Got a fastball, hit it right back up the middle, and picks up his 46th RBI. So good 2-out hitting by Plouffe.
A couple runs in the 7th, 1 so far here in the 8th. Arcia drove one to the gap in right center field for a double, leading off the 7th. Arcia has been stuck on 10 home runs for quite a while. Tried to get unstuck with that swing. Twins out hitting the Jays 9-7, but the Jays got 5 of their 7 hits in their 5-run third inning. One strike. In the dirt, dug out by Tolley. John Gibbons studying his lineup card, trying to figure out which of the remaining 11 relief pitchers he might bring in. So it'll be Darren Oliver. 1-1. Kicks away from Tolley, who has no idea where it is, and Plouffe is going to try for third base, and the throw not in time. Alert play by Plouffe. He knew he had one base, but he kept an eye on Tolley, and it took the catcher a long time to find where that ball had deflected to.
Well, it looked like it deflected off his helmet right there and then ricocheted toward the bullpen for the Twins. He had no idea. And Plouffe's spinning around second base and seeing he could scoot over to third. Well, that's a heck of a wild pitch right there.
Plouffe advances to third, 2 out, 2-1 to Arcia. Arcia has a favorable count, a couple of hits already tonight.
You would think with 20 relievers out in that bullpen that Arcia right here is facing a right-hander with Oliver out there. Colabello, a right-handed hitter on deck.
See if the Twins can take advantage here. 2-1. 3-1. Colabello on deck. Trip to the mound, which might have been to say, hey, look, let's not be too dumb here and group one to a guy who's got an awful lot of power. Ball 3 wasn't close. Popped up.
Get out of here.
And it's over. The Toronto dugout out of play. Three and 2. The Twins left field. Holy to the mound.
McGowan has given up a couple home runs in his first 18 relief appearances. Garcia has hit 4 of his 10 home runs here at Target Field.
Jack his swing, and Arcia will take a walk. And Colabello, on the road trip, hit 2 home runs in a game, including a grand slam, will come up with 2 men aboard and 2 out.
Well, that breaking ball down and in, and see the barrel of the bat not crossing the front of the plate.
I'm guessing if his wrist can survive that, it's just fine, because I would think if you've got a sore wrist when you're ready to violently swing as Arcia does, and you can check it like that, your wrist must be feeling better. Here's Colabello. Mastroianni in the game as a pinch runner. Colabello cranked one into the bullpen his last time up.
Well, last Monday you mentioned he hit 2 home runs in that ball game. Twins won 10-6. A solo home run, and then in the 9th inning a grand slam.
In the 7th inning.
Now, and Arcia at second base. Colabello hitting his first home run here at Target Field, and he pulled it. His 7th of the year.
One strike to Chris Colabello. Ooh, the outside corner call, and the pitch looked like it was outside.
2 fastballs, 94 and 95.
Now a tough spot for Colabello.
I'd be surprised if they don't go after him with another fastball. No breaking balls.
High. Colabello takes 1 and 2. And Oliver's had plenty of time to get ready. Turn call, but again, the Twins have another right-handed batter in the on-deck circle. Osmito Pinto hoping for a chance in the 8th. With a tying run aboard at first with 2 away. 1 and 2 to Colabello. Off the plate, 2 and 2. McGowan figured I got a strike called out there a couple pitches ago. We'll try it again. Speedy runner at first, and doesn't want to run the count full and give Mastroianni a couple of extra steps on a 3-2 pitch. 2-2. Taken low. 3-2, and not by much. McGowan wanted it. Tolley wanted it. John Gibbons wanted it.
Let's see what Fox Track says on this one.
Oh, right there. Perfect pitch. Now Mastroianni will take off early from first. Big moment here for Chris Colabello in front of the home crowd.
All fastballs so far.
Struck him out. And a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. The Twins get one back and leave two. Stay tuned for the Gander Mountain weekend weather update for Twins territory. Combined with his time at Rochester, Chris Colabello's at 31 home runs this year, and he had a chance for his biggest home run in the 8th inning, but it didn't happen.
McGowan went right after him, finally struck him out with that 95, 96 mile an hour fastball.
So to the 9th inning we go. It's a 2-run ball game, and Brian Dunsing comes out of the Twins pen to pitch to the bottom third of the Toronto lineup.
Yeah, Brian making his 64th relief appearance, 53 innings. He's walked 20, 4 intentional, with 51 strikeouts over his last 14 appearances. An ERA at 0.68, 13 1/3 innings over his last 14 appearances. Mastroianni stays in the ball game in left field, and he pinch ran for Arcia.
Disturbing scene at the end of the Houston game on Wednesday. The game-winning hit for the Astros hit to the left field corner. Mastroianni trying to retrieve it. There's a bunt. Plouffe charges nicely, fires on the run. Good play. Great anticipation by Plouffe as Goins tried to drop one down in front of him, and it turned into an easy play. One down.
Third baseman, you always know who can bunt, who can't bunt, and Goings right here, you know, with his speed, just lays down a bunt. You see Plouffe charging in as soon as the barrel of the bat kind of spun around to look like he was going to bunt. Nice play by Trevor Plouffe. Good read.
You know, we've seen Trevor tighten some things up defensively at third base. His throwing has been much better. Goes the batter, and he takes strike one. Had some good at bats, just 1 for 3, but he's fouled off a lot of pitches against Pelfrey. finally struck out to end Pelfrey's night. Dribbled up the line, foul, 2 strikes. Off the plate, 1-2. Ouch.
Take that.
2 down.
What a great sound.
On the Target Field for a game Wednesday, September 11th, and pay a visit to the Twins Wives Organization kiosk behind home plate on the main concourse. You'll find all kinds of unique merchandise for sale to help Twin Cities charities, from cookbooks to koozies. There's something for every Twins fan, and you'll be helping people in need. Get tickets by calling 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com/tickets.
Excuse my ignorance, but what's a koozie?
I think it's something you put like a can of your favorite soft drink, a cola perhaps.
Oh, okay, like a
and
holder?
like a foam thing.
Okay.
And it helps insulate it, keeps your hands dry. JP Arancibia hitting for Josh Thole. Don't want to make something out of nothing here, but we will remind you that Thole took a terrible foul tip. A roller to second. Arancibia is retired. Good inning for Dunsing. Go to the bottom of the 9th with the Twins down a couple of runs. Will lead off the 9th inning for the Twins against the Toronto Closer. Is a really good one, Casey Janssen.
He's having a very good year, making his 50th relief appearance, 27 saves and 29 save opportunities. The walk to strikeout ratio outstanding in the 46 innings he's pitching. He's allowed only 2 home runs. Opponents hitting only 202 off of him. Left-handers hitting a little bit better, hitting 240. Right-handers hitting just 141.
Pinto 1 for 3. Ground ball double play in the second. Solid single to center in the 5th, and a fly ball to center. Arancibia using the more common catcher's mask. Will stay in to catch. Pinto, Florimone, and Presley to bat. There's a strike on the outside corner. Pinto with 8 hits on, including a couple of doubles and 13 at bats.
A lot of movement by Jansen. That long stride. It's very low when he delivers that ball toward home plate.
2-1.
Oh, Pat Neshek did a lot of that.
A deep drive to center field. Going back. Pinto with a home run, his first. Just the third allowed this year by Jansen.
Boy, did he clobber that ball right there. Fastball up, and Pinto makes it a one-run ball game with his first major league home run.
You can't hit it to a deeper part of the park, right over the 411 sign.
What a start to a major league career.
And now Herman will hit for Florimo. And the Twins one more big fly away from tying it.
Well, Pinto again in the minor leagues between AA, AAA, hit 15 home runs, so he's got some pop in that bat.
Herman takes ball one. 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and a quick one here in the 9th. It's a one-run ball game. Two and 0. Out to the mound goes Arancibia. Pinto's first major league home run. The ball should be easily retrieved. I think it ended up in the Toronto bullpen, which is right next to the Twins bullpen. We're down 6-1 as late as the bottom of the 7th inning. Two and 0. There's a strike that covers the inside corner. Twins have now hit 137 home runs and allowed just the 135. Two and 2 to Herman. Herman with 4 home runs and 122 at bats. To short center. Reyes retreats, and the outfield grass has an easy play, 1 down.
Yeah, a little cutter slider got in on Herman to create that pop-up.
Presley hit a home run in Houston 2 days ago. Tonight, a double in 4 trips.
The rally caps on.
It's worked so far. 4 unanswered runs by the Twins late. And now Presley will hit. Byrne taking a strike again. Presley and Pinto, as I talked with them before the game, neither one had ever been in the state of Minnesota before Thursday night or Wednesday night, I should say, when the charter arrived from Houston. 1 strike.
Presley out of Louisiana, out of University of Mississippi when he signed with the Pirates.
It's deep to the left field corner, but twisting foul. 2 strikes. Presley pulled his home run 2 days ago in Houston. Barry Ryan's description of Presley when the stunning trade was announced. It's a guy who probably shouldn't hit the ball in the air too much. Line drives and ground balls for Presley. Oh, and 2 to Alex Presley. fan away. Jones given one back, still has one run to work with. Hard ball hit off the glove of Lind, and Presley will reach a wicked smash, and Lind was able to knock it down. That's it.
Well, Lind was guarding the line, no extra base hits. That ball came up on him. The guy hit the heel of his glove and then got behind him. And the speed of Presley, you knew he was going to get a base hit.
It was a good at bat.
Take a look at Lind right here. The ball that probably should have been hot right there and played, but a little short hop. Had to backhand it rather than stay in front of it.
Ryan Domet will pinch hit for Clay Thomas.
Yeah, we're giving Lind an error on that.
Errors are even at 2 apiece. Twins have been out hitting the Jays tonight, 10-7. Domet hit a home run to tie the game in the 9th inning. Wednesday afternoon in Houston. It's inside, ball 1. Twins have had 4 walk-off wins this year. Swing and a miss. Ryan Domet hit a 2-run triple in the bottom of the 9th to beat Seattle here on June 1st.
Oh, good little slider right here. Almost like a cutter. Inner half of the plate.
One and one to Domet. 2-1. Their walk-off hits have been by Eduardo Escobar in the first series of the year. Brian Dozier, Chris Herman. Not been a walk-off home run hit here this year, and only 2 in this ballpark. Swing and a miss, 2-2. The rally cap on. He's looking closed for the time being. 2-2 to Domet. Outfield playing very deeply. We'll try to eliminate the double here. Inside, 3-2. What do you do with Presley here, boss?
I don't know. I probably keep him there. Dozier on deck. You want Dozier to get an at-bat? So you send them.
Well, you've got both ends covered there,
yes,
don't you?
I send them right here.
Presley goes. Domet swings through it. And the throw to second. In time to end the ball game. Strike him out, throw him out. And the Jays beat the Twins 6-5.
Yeah, Presley didn't get that best of jump right there. Twins came fighting back, but to no avail. Good throw by Aaron Sebia right on the mark.
Presley now 0 for 3 in stolen base attempts. Slid right into the tag of Reyes. Tom Hanneman, the Twins showing some comeback ability late in the ball game, but they came up 1 run short.
Dick, the rally.